Round
Just
two.
kidding.
Welcome to Momsense. I'm Kyleigh.
And I'm Kambria.
We are going to talk about something a little bit heavier today. It's kind of along the lines of put your big girl panties on because you're a mom and you got to keep moving. We're all living a lot of life. We all have things going on. Me particularly with Xander being sick constantly.
Yeah, gosh.
That's been really heavy for me in my life. As far as, personally, just being able to take care of my child who can't tell me what's wrong, can't say, Mommy, this hurts. I'm trying to be an advocate for him at the doctor's office, switching doctors, going to the hospital, all the things, on top of being in a position at work where I need, like, my job, I need to be in office.
Yeah.
And not being able to be in office every day because my husband has a job who also is not something that he can do from home because he's in the field. And so just navigating all of those things, I was telling Cam that the way that I would describe the way I've felt basically since November is like I'm stuck in this undercurrent. And I'm trapped in the water, and every once in a while I'm able to like pop my head up and get a breath before I'm sucked back down. Because you're not taking care of yourself, you're not taking care of your marriage, you're literally spreading yourself so thin just to get things done. But at the end of the day, your kids can't feel that.
Exactly.
And I know you are going through some things in life, and again, like, you just have to keep moving forward, and that's not always the easiest thing to do.
No, it's not. And I mean, I will say, I feel like a lot of the undercurrent comes from the holidays.
Yeah.
Just because that's whenever I feel like it's the most exciting, great time, but it's also like, hey, now we have something every single night until the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say, I feel like, at least in my life, that's kind of where I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm trying to swim and then drag the kids
You're like
with me.
doggy paddling, and you're just running in place. You're treading water.
Yes, and be the mom who has like all the Christmas decorations, and then the Valentine's decorations, and just the ideal Pinterest mom, and it's like, yes, the kids will see that and remember it, but no, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they are going to remember the silly stuff, not, that. But, so with Xander being sick, you had said his temperature got up to
106.
which is scary.
106.3 to be exact.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, so just over the last 90 days, he has had 3 ear infections, flu B twice, RSV, some of them in conjunction to each other. RSV, Fifth's disease. The most recent thing that he had was all at once, which he's still sick, is flu A, a form of coronavirus, not COVID, but a form of coronavirus, and a bronchial infection. And so when he started running, he was totally fine. We had just finished a antibiotic for his ear infection. 2 days later, spiked a fever of 102. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? We just did 10 days worth of medication for him to heal his ear, and his third ear infection. And so, like I said, turned around, had a high fever that morning. By that evening, he was running 106. And so I called the nurse's line. We jumped in the car, and I just said, hey, should we go to an urgent care? Should we go to the emergency room?
Yeah.
I don't want to go to the emergency room if it's not an emergency, but I mean, I know this high of a fever is not normal. And that's with Motrin and Tylenol.
Gosh.
And so, of course, they said, no, this is, an emergency. Go ahead and head in. We went to Children's. They were so incredibly kind, got us back very quickly because some of his vital signs he wasn't bad off, but they weren't great.
I imagine.
He was super, we could not get him to wake up. It was very scary. So we went, and they got his temperature down. We came home, and basically from Thursday up until really yesterday, he's done nothing but sleep. And cannot get him to wake up. He might drink a bottle. He does not want anything, like, he doesn't want water, he doesn't want
Yeah.
juice, he doesn't want to eat. So finally yesterday took a turn for the better. We had a follow-up doctor's appointment yesterday, and they started him on breathing treatments because Saturday, so Thursday, spiked fever, hospital. Friday, fine. Saturday, his breathing was really like fast, and he started to have the
Yes, the
retraction in
palpitations.
his ribs. So went ahead and headed back in, and his oxygen was like at 88 when we got there, which is like
Not terrible, but not
90 is
yeah,
like the okay,
ideal.
we're
Oh,
90 to
yeah.
100 is like the, "Hey, we need to be in this range." Anything under that's we're like, yellow,
Mhm.
red flag." So kept him, monitored him. Again, his fever was still really high, even through what's today, Friday? Even through, like, Tuesday, he was still running 106.
Gosh. Yeah.
So
So, one thing as a mom, or several things as a mom you never want to see is your kid sick, hurt,
mhm,
heartbroken,
mhm,
you know, all of the things in any, negative emotion. You don't want to
yeah,
see, that with them. And, you know, it's so hard when they're so small and they
yeah,
can't talk and then you feel the most overwhelming helplessness.
yeah,
If is that even kind of explains it right.
yeah,
And you know, back in I want to say 2021 when it snowed,
yeah.
um, our power went out. Our pipes were frozen, all the things. We went
Valentine's
and
weekend.
yep, it was Valentine's weekend. We went and moved in with my in-laws.
Mhm,
So Jet was about 2 or 3 months old and he had spiked a fever. I mean, our house in the middle of the night went from, I mean, we lost electricity in the middle of the night and it dropped to like 50 by the time we were waking up and Jet was like so frozen. He was, I mean, we were all so cold and
yeah,
we went straight to my in-laws. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what did this cause? And same thing, helpless feeling. Then my father-in-law, me, and Justin are driving to the hospital.
yeah,
um
and there's no power anywhere.
no power anywhere. The roads are
Horrible.
straight ice, so it took us about 2.5 hours to get there.
Yeah, and for people who aren't in Texas, I
Yeah.
promise we're not crazy. When it like, one of the things so my husband's from Iowa and his family's all from Iowa, and they make fun of us. They don't anymore, but
It's ice,
they
yeah.
used to make fun of us. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we Northerners, we deal with this weather all the time." But our vehicles, 1, are not equipped, our roads are not equipped, our you know, we don't have the same resources that, like, Northerners have or, like,
Yeah,
people in the,
where
Midwest
they, like,
have.
brine the roads
We
and
don't have that kind of
yeah.
stuff. And so when it ices here, like, everything shuts down. So I imagine trying to drive,
Yeah,
it was scary and your kid's sick and you're like, "Oh
and
my
I'm
gosh,
like,
I can't
"Can we
speed."
just get there?" Then it was, like, also COVID time to where Justin couldn't even come in with me, and we get there, and I'm
Mhm.
like, "No, like, I need him, like,
Mhm.
what
That's
in
hard.
the world?" So, yeah. But, okay, along the lines of managing and, like, your mental sanity and actually, like, keeping yourself together, I wanna say one thing that really I try really hard at, and I beat myself up about it probably too much, but it's giving all my kids equal attention. Oakley is over here, she's 1, she obviously needs a lot of attention. Jet every 5 seconds is like, "Mommy, play with me, mommy, play with me, mommy, play with me, mommy, 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 mommy." And then Kinsey is just like, "Did you see that, so and so came out with a new lip gloss and that, whoever's makeup routine?" And I'm like, I try to follow all the cool stuff. And I'm like, I'm really trying to be cool and understand this whole new face
Yeah.
care and
Yeah.
teenage stuff. Just because I mean, I still like use like Walmart face wash, and that's okay. But, equally distributing your time. And there will be times when one of the babies is sick. And then I'm like not giving Kinsey that same attention.
Mhm.
um, because it's like all of my focus is here.
Yeah.
Um, or you know, we are constantly like, "Hey, can you watch the kids for like 2 hours so we can go to Kenzie's game? Kenzie's got this. Can you all just watch the kids?" And I'm like, "Oh man, like I still need to make sure that I'm making time for them. Not that I don't have that time during the day, but it's also managing having that family time and all sitting at the dinner table together and all talking about our day because the age gap is hard."
Yeah.
And, I want to be all up in Kenzie's business and know all the things. And, a preteen mom is just keeping up with a lot. And it's just so funny just because of, I mean, whenever I was that age versus her at her age, like,
Mhm.
I mean, we had dial-up internet, and
Yeah,
now she's got, like, every resource,
on her phone.
on her phone.
Literally in her
Exactly.
hands.
Yeah, but I will say, like, the management, rough side for me is really, and lately has been, like, I need to allocate my time properly. I need to take care of myself. I need to go to the gym. My marriage comes first. And, a lot of times it's like Justin and I are dividing and conquering in seasons where I'm like, I need you, or he needs me in a season of like leaning and, just life's things going on in life.
Yeah, and I mean, Brady and I only have one, and dividing and conquering the one is a whole task,
Yeah.
especially because he and I have opposite working schedules. And so, thank God I work at a company that, puts family first and it's understanding and has, my boss has actually gotten mad at me for, I've, there was one day Xander was sick. I didn't have a babysitter. I didn't, and that's part of it too, is like your village wants to help you.
Yeah.
But my village, one, my grandparents, Brady's grandparents, they're older.
You don't want them getting
And so
sick.
if they get the
Exactly.
flu or a bronchial infection or whatever that
Mhm.
may be, that is not good. Like, it's almost worse for them than it is for the baby. Or we're talking about two very high risk situations, right? So
Exactly.
I don't want grandparents coming and
Nope.
sitting with the baby while I go to work. Other side of that is like Brady's parents. My parents live further away,
Yeah.
so it's hard for them. And my mom helps as much as she can in those situations, but of just, like, moral support a
Yeah.
lot of times, because
Yeah.
there are times that, I call and I'm crying and I'm like, "Man,
I
Xander's"
can't do
s
this.
school called me and Xander spiked a fever again, like, I don't know what to do anymore, or I went to the doctor and this is what they said, and am I making the right choices? And so,
Yeah.
moral support from my mom, but, and my stepdad will send me articles of, "Hey, I read this and I thought this about fevers," and,
Yeah.
just moral support on that side. But, Brady's parents, they have other grandkids.
Yeah.
And so if they come over and hang out with Xander and they catch something and they take it
It's just like
home,
a
and then the
domino
other
effect.
kids get sick or they go to work and they're missing work and all the things, right? So there's this whole domino effect. So your village is there, but they're not able to be there. Like my mother-in-law this week, she brought food over and made sure that we had groceries, and she hospital visits, even though you have insurance, you have a copay, and we went
It's not
twice.
cheap.
So,
Yeah.
twice we had to pay a copay, not counting the bill that's gonna follow that. And so,
Exactly.
they were able to help us financially because that's not something that we just have sitting around.
Yeah. No.
Um, but, having to allocate your time, that is really hard.
And then is your laundry done? Are the dishes done? All of these things then while you
Well,
sit
and
back.
then you start to feel
Oh yeah.
anxious because all your house is a mess and your sink is piled full of dishes and your kid is
Exactly.
crying and just wants to be held, and you haven't been to work in a week, and the projects that you're working on at work are piling up. Are you being a good team member? Are you being, a good employee? Are you being a
Yeah,
good wife? It just starts to spiral.
it does. And something that I've been practicing a lot, especially in front of the kids, because yes, they know, but it's not their fault and they just keep going. But they can tell like, oh, mommy's probably, you know,
Got something going on.
got a lot going on. Something that I've been doing a lot and just like it's really helped me, and now it's really cute because of how my kids have taken it on. But when I get overwhelmed, I'm like, okay, okay, stop, take a breath. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm doing all of this laundry.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesus, because I have kids. I get to wash their clothes.
Mhm.
Thank you, Jesus, that Kinsey is healthy enough to be in sports for me to go watch her play sports.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's thinking of just the smallest detail, but just thanking him and just being like, I'm so blessed. I need to be grateful. And it's hard. But in 18 years, I'm going to be so alone and bored. And I'm going to look back and I'm going to be like, man, I remember when we were doing this, that, and whatever. And, so I will say these things out loud. And my kids joke and they're like, or Kinsey jokes. And she's like, Mom, you're talking to yourself. And I'm like, no, I'm talking to Jesus. But so I'll be doing it in the car, and I started doing it with Jet, like, thank you, Jesus, for the sun. Thank you, Jesus, that it's sunny. Thank you, Jesus, we have a car. Thank you, Jesus, we have
Yeah.
gas. Well, like last year, I want to say, after one of Justin's races, we were driving back from TMS, and my car just like the computer just randomly like shut down on the highway.
Oh, yeah.
Super crazy, weird freak situation. Thank God we got it fixed. But for like 2 weeks after, Jet was like, "Thank you, Jesus, mommy's car's not broken. Mommy's car's not broken."
That's
And I'm
funny.
like, "Oh my goodness, yes." But for me, it's that, and like mentally having to put myself back in that place and just be like, yes, I'm gonna scream, I'm gonna cry. I like feel defeated, like completely defeated sometimes because it's like,
Mhm.
oh no, I missed this. For example, all of Kenzie's friends wanted to dress up like minions for Halloween. So I write everything down. But I have like a bunch of write down papers in my house. If you come to my house, there's a lot of papers. I'm gonna get better about it, and I'm gonna get a dry erase board at the new house. And I'm gonna write
Okay.
everything on there. So I'm speaking it into
Okay.
existence. Anyway, um, I wrote it down along with a bunch of other things that I had to get done. I love the gratification of like crossing it off. Did it. So anyway, I'm finally circling back to this piece of paper because I have like 5 pieces of paper, but I'm finally circling back to this piece of paper. And I'm like, minions. That's right. I gotta go order the minion stuff. So I go on Amazon, and we're 2 weeks. No, it was like a week until Halloween. And everything was like November 3rd delivery.
You're like, oh,
And I was
God.
like, why? Oh my gosh. Like, I can't let her down. So I'm thinking of all the things that I can do, and like, can I make this? Like, what can I do? Um, so she gets home from school, and I was like, so are y'all all, still gonna be minions for Halloween? And she was like, actually, no. We changed to sharks. And I'm like, immediately goes on Amazon, buys a shark. I'm like, oh my goodness. Then I get a text from the other moms, and they're like, okay, the girls are saying that they want to be sharks now. None of them had bought the minion stuff. And
Yeah.
they're like, are you gonna buy your daughter a shark? Because I mean, if you do, I will, I guess. But I mean, this is
You're like, Link, here, go.
I'm like, absolutely. So guess what? There's a cute 4 shark picture of my Kinsey cat with her girlfriend.
That's so fun.
And I got the shark, and then that made me feel so much better because I was like, I'm not the only mom.
No,
But
you're
for them, they
not.
were just like, I mean, whatever. I mean, it was $40. And like right now, $40 is like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
At least gas went down a little, but $40 is still like, and also teaching our kids, and you're not quite there yet, but just understanding the value of a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
like, no, like we have to buy toilet paper, buy laundry detergent. It's not just something that's like, oh,
You just have it.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, that for me, whew, I was super upset with myself. So I'm glad we have
If it makes you feel any better, Brady's birthday was recently. Was recent, not recently, but whatever. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Brain power is on point today.
brain dead.
Brady's birthday was recent, and I realized. So with Xander being sick, Brady's birthday was actually Sunday. So with Xander being sick and all the things, like I got Parker McCollum tickets, which was
Oh,
very exciting and a splurge. Brady and I like to try and for birthday gifts
experience.
do things
Yes.
that we can go do together. So I got the tickets and I wanted to be really cute with it and like go get a calendar because
Mm,
the concert actually falls on our dating anniversary, which will be 13 years together.
that's cute. I love that.
So I wanted to go get like a calendar and like mark
Mhm.
the date. Anyways, Xander was sick. I wasn't able to go get a calendar. I wasn't able to go get like a cupcake and a candle or do like we didn't even get to go to dinner to
Yeah.
celebrate him. We did nothing to celebrate him because I was stuck home with a very sick baby. It's not like I could put Xander in the car and go to run to the Dollar General or anything. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
he was so sick. I did not leave. And so I felt like I failed as a wife on celebrating
Mhm.
him. The good thing is that's not his love language. He could care less about being celebrated. Um, but it's things like that of like again making time for your spouse,
Yeah.
making time for yourself. I mean, getting vulnerable here. There was a day So Xander got sick initially on Thursday. I think it was Sunday. Brady came home and I was like, I haven't showered in 4 days. I need you to
Yeah.
take, like, because Xander, when I tell you this kid has been attached to me,
And then you just smell the sick on you. You're like,
yes,
oh,
he
oh
has
yeah.
been like stuck to my body. I mean, he would fall asleep, like laying across me. And if I moved, like moved my head, he would wake up in a panic and immediately start crying.
Yeah.
And that was awful to
Oh
experience.
yeah. I
But
can.
when you talk about like being touched out and like just needing some time for
Yeah.
yourself, and I'm like, I know he's gonna cry. I know
Yeah.
there was one day I went to work this week and Brady stayed home with Xander, or maybe it was last week and Brady stayed home with Xander. And Brady texted me and he was like, Kai, I'm so sorry. I need you to come home because he has done nothing but scream and cry mama for
Oh.
like the last hour.
Yeah.
And his temperature is 104 and I've already given him medicine and it's not coming. I don't know what to do anymore. And I was like, I'm on my way.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I'm sure you're on your way. Are you the type of person I am who, when you're overwhelmed, overstimulated, all things, you get in the car and you don't even realize you're just driving in silence and you're just like, whoa, I
Well, and then
didn't.
you look down and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going
Yeah, how fast?
way
Ooh.
too fast.
Oops, oops. Yeah, no.
But it's like this panic almost like starts to boil up inside of you of like, oh my gosh, my kid is crying. He needs his mommy.
Hmm.
My husband doesn't know what to do and he's probably freaking out. And I know how stressed I get.
Yeah.
So like,
Whenever he's not used to that.
and
No.
like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm leaving work and am I gonna upset somebody at work? And did I get all the things done that I needed to get done? And then, I get home and take care of things. And I can't tell you how many times this week that I kept my laptop on my bedside table, and as soon as Xander would fall asleep, I would pull it up, and so I'd be, holding him with one hand
Yeah.
and doing stuff on the other hand, and up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning working
Yeah.
because I'm like, I got nothing done. And I want to make sure that projects continue to move forward and that, people see that I'm making an effort. I'm not just home.
Yeah.
And so, man, the juggle.
Absolutely a juggle and a struggle. And then you randomly have like a lull boring time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm ready for the lull boring. Like I think I need
I know.
some nothingness
I know.
right now. And Kenzie's trying out for tennis, so I really hope she makes the
Yay.
tennis team. I don't know anything about tennis, so I need to learn. I'll go to YouTube Academy.
That's okay.
um, but you know, moving forward and celebrating the small things is super important. Thanking the Lord, like for your hard hardships,
Hardships.
yeah. Thanking the Lord for your hardships, to try to like pull yourself out of it because it's hard to feel to feel it's heavy. It's
Yeah.
really heavy. And then, for me, I'm like, I want to go to the gym. Like I need to go to the gym. I want to feel good about myself. I want to fuel my body. I wake up, I have my green smoothie every day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I try to work out in some way, shape, or form. And, you know, there was about 2 weeks ago, I didn't go to the gym once. There was just so much going on. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Then I start feeling like bad about my body. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like my body's just drastically going to just change, but it's just the fact of the matter of like, I want to do this for me because it
Yeah.
makes me happy, but it wasn't a me time. And like I said, 18 years, I'll have a lot of me time. I'll be all up in my kids'
Hey,
business.
one of
Like,
the
y'all want
things
to hang out with
my
me?
one of the things my mother-in-law recently said that um I was able to relate to in a sense, but obviously not into the full realm yet. But she said we were talking about just how fast time goes. And
Yeah,
she said it's almost like as you get older, your life slows down, but time goes faster.
it does. That was wise.
Yeah, she's a great lady. She had said, I said, well, you guys are busy. You've got several grandkids and you're running to
Hmm.
basketball games and horse riding lessons and you have us over every single weekend. And so you've got a lot of
Yeah.
life going on. Um, but she said the crazy thing is it's like, yeah, but it's still like one day you wake up and you are running from this game to that game to that game and dropping kids off at school and picking them up and making sure that you're getting, doing your job and all of the extracurricular activities. And then one day you're just not.
Yeah.
And then, your family has family and, life kind of moves on and now you've got your grandkids and you are running to the sporting events and the things but
On a different scale.
they said there's a lot of times that we sit down and we look at each other and we're like, "Where has the time gone?"
Mhm.
She said kinda like after 50, it
Yeah.
just and so I'm like, "Man, I felt like life went quickly." I feel like life has gotten faster as I've gotten older, but once I had Xander,
Oh, yeah.
time is a whole different
Like, I have a
perspective.
13-year-old almost. She'll be 13 in March.
Shut up.
Isn't that crazy?
Your perspective just changes so much after children.
Yeah,
And then you
definitely.
have 1 child and 2 child and
Mhm.
3 child and however many more that you may have, and time gets even faster with
Yeah. I told my
each
sister-in-law
one.
the other day, was like, "Oh my gosh, like, we don't have any more babies, like,
Yeah,
and we're not gonna have another baby."
you're in full toddler.
Like, we are, yeah, but, like, the baby and all of the baby, everything, the smell, the
If we have
touch, the
another one, you
kiss.
can just
Yeah, just oh my gosh.
I'll bring 'em over to you.
Yeah, but I'm like, "Man, that's crazy."
Mhm.
Oakley's starting to talk, and I'm like, "Wow." Kinsey was just that size.
It's wild.
With Jet, I mean, like, he's 4 going on 40 because he acts like a grown man. Literally takes everything apart and then is like, "Eh, I'm not gonna put it back together. Daddy'll do it." And I'm like, "Stop."
That's so funny.
But yeah,
He's
it's
Mr. Personality.
oh my goodness, is he ever? That's my joyful Jet.
I love it, I love it.
But yeah, um, life gets tough, but thank you, Jesus. You got
Yep,
Brady,
yep.
Xander, my family, my kids. It's just one of those things. It's like it's very healthy to talk about it too, to know that you're
Yeah,
not alone.
100%.
Or if you're like, I feel like I need, and guess what? You do.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest pieces of
Everyone
advice that I
needs.
would give is whenever you feel like you're drowning, you can't come up for air, you have to tell somebody, "Hey, I need XYZ to make me feel better."
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that person is expected to do all of those things that you need, but it might be something like, example, Brady, I need to take a shower.
Yeah.
I need 5 minutes
Mhm.
to myself, and especially in the season that we're in where, like I said, we have opposite schedules, and so, you know, we're kind of passing things off. It's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, you work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday he sleeps a little bit because he's working night shift." And so it's like on those 4 days, okay, mom is on.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, dad. Like Wednesday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, dad, you are on deck.
Yeah.
And I'm here to support you, but we're just going flip flop
Yes,
because
exactly.
I need some time.
Well, and even just sometimes I feel so silly when I'm complaining. And it is silly, some of the stuff that I complain about after I think about it, reflect, but get it off my chest.
Hmm.
Like I'll be complaining to one of my best friends who doesn't have kids, and she's just like, I mean, Cam, that sucks. I can't relate. But I'm like, okay, well, thanks for letting me talk. Now I feel better. And it's
Yeah,
like, I just
sometimes
had
you
to
got
get
to
it off my
talk.
chest, no matter how stupid it sounds, because like I have a wonderful, blessed life.
Hmm.
It's okay to have meltdowns.
Yeah,
It's okay to not be okay.
it, it's one of oh, absolutely, that's one of my favorite sayings. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
Um, one thing too is like comparing what you have going on in your life to somebody else.
Hmm.
Like when I think about what you have going on and what I have going on, two totally different realms, and there is no comparison of the two.
Yeah,
But at the same time, they're both heavy for us.
exactly.
And so what feels heavy to you and what might feel heavy to somebody else may not be the same. And so don't compare your
Hmm.
life or what you're going through or what somebody else is going through because I think one of the things that people do a lot is say like, well, it could be worse.
Yeah,
And you're right, it could be, but
it could.
that does not negate the fact that what you have going on is heavy for
Yeah,
you.
I'm still struggling right now.
Yep.
So just let me vent,
Yep. Yep.
It's just one of those things. It's just that simple.
Yep.
as simple as just being an ear for somebody, even if you think, wow, what she said is so stupid. She's a stay-at-home mom who gets to do da 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 da. Yeah, but there's
When you put the shoe on the other foot, there's a lot of things that people uh don't realize. I could not do what you do.
yeah,
And I know that about myself, and that's okay. Um,
yeah, I couldn't
but
do what you do. I don't know how you do it, because man, nothing would ever get done here.
there are days when I'm like, how am I functioning? But
Yes, well,
I love every day anyways. I would not trade being a mom
no,
for the world.
never, no. Oh my gosh, it's the
For the
best.
world.
It's the best. But
Okay, well, to close this out, you got a
mom,
mom fail or mom win.
you know, I'm gonna go with mom fail.
Okay.
We've had a week. It's been a rough week.
Yeah.
And Monday night, um, it's like, I mean, I'm the type that like I like to eat dinner at 5.
Okay.
And
I'm
4:30.
lucky if I eat dinner by
4:30 if
9.
I'm lucky, but I'm like, oh my gosh, then we can go on a family walk and I can bring off those Kyleighs and I can go to bed and I'll just blah, 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 all the things,
Yeah,
Like I'm
because
in
you're like,
some
bedtime is 8.
yeah, like I'm in some like fairy tale world. Yes, like I'm in a fairy tale world. But so it's like 7:15, 7:30 comes around and I'm just dealing with a bunch, trying to get the house in order. And then Kinsey and Justin are just kind of like looking back at me like, so are we just not gonna eat dinner today? And I'm like, oh, that's my job. Oh no.
Whoops.
And so we have some ramen noodles,
It'd be
and
like that sometimes.
it'd be like that sometimes.
We call that a
So
whatever night. You
yeah,
eat whatever you can find.
so absolute fail, but it's okay. We survived.
You were all fed.
Yeah,
You're good.
exactly.
I have to tell you, last night you texted and asked how Xander was. And Brittany goes, "Who is texting you this late?" And I was like, "It's only 8:30."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Kyleigh, it's 10:45." And then I
Oh,
looked and I realized it was you. And I was like, "She's never up this late.
no,
Is she okay?"
so much going on. Oh my goodness. I know.
Uh,
I like to be in bed by like
yeah,
10 at the latest.
I know. So I was surprised when you texted so late. I had a child on me, so that's why I didn't respond until this morning. But I did text you really early.
Yeah, it's fine.
Anyways, I am gonna go. Mine's a funny fail, but mine's a fail. Of During this time of Xander being sick, he like will not drink electrolytes. And I'm like, you've got to drink
Yeah.
some electrolytes. Speaking of, because you've got to get some fluids in you. Like dehydration is the last thing that I need.
I know. Oh my gosh.
Right? I don't need to take you to the hospital because we got to poke you and get fluids. So, I realized the other day he kept pointing to the nightstand, and I'm like grabbing everything. Like
Yeah.
hair clip, remote, baby monitor. Here you
Yeah.
go. What do you like? What do you want? What do you want? Finally, I picked up my Yeti. He wanted to drink my drink, and I had electrolytes, so it was fine. I let him have what I had. Well, now I've started a bad habit
Oh yeah, my kids.
because last night he kept pointing to the nightstand, and all I had over there, of course, was a soda because that's my one thing. It's like, I need soda. And so I told Brady when he was on his way home last night, I'm like, I have not had like real food. I've eaten ramen noodles, sandwiches, a bag of chips over the last several days. Please, can you stop and get me food? And I need a soda. And so that's what I had. And so that was on my nightstand. And Xander kept pointing at it. And I was like, you can't have that. You can't have that. But I picked it up and I handed it to him finally because I'm like, I don't know what else you want.
Yeah.
And of course he takes it and he goes, I was like, oh my God. So I told Brady, I was like, will you go get him, like, go fill a tumbler
Yeah.
and put a bendy straw in it
Yeah.
and bring that in here? And like, I took a drink of it. And sure enough, he was like, mommy's drink?
My
Great.
drink.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
No.
now I have set a bad habit of that he can have what I have. What I don't need is as he gets older for him to just be walking around drinking my drinks.
Oh, my kids drink my drink constantly.
Yeah, well, one day
Oh.
it's not going to be water. And I'm like, whoops. So that's it's not a horrible fail, but it's a funny thing.
No, it is funny. Bad habits. Oh well.
It's what it is.
We're doing our best.
It is what it
We're
is.
doing our best.
We're trying to make it. So,
Yeah.
thank you for tuning into Momsense. I'm Kylie.
And I'm Cambria.